I'm going to make a one tray wonder using fillet of beef and potatoes and serving it with a delicious salsa verde. I love these dishes, less washing up and everything just goes straight into the oven. Now, first of all, we need a beautiful piece of centre cut fillet of beef. This is about 1 kilo of beef here. We need to add a drizzle of oil. So some extra virgin olive oil for this, about 1 tablespoon. Some salt, lots of salt so we get a nice crust, and some freshly cracked pepper. And just with your hands, rub that salted oil all around that beautiful piece of meat. Okay, that looks good. Now I've just been preheating a roasting pan that can not only go onto the stovetop, but of course goes into the oven too. So we're just going to seal this off. And at this stage, we just want to get some good colour on all sides. So that's why you want this to be on a high heat. We don't want to cook it all the way through because it'll cook all the way through in the oven. While that's sealing off, let's get our potatoes prepped. 2 Desiree potatoes. I'll cut them in half. And we want to cut these into chippies. So big wedges, skin and all. We don't want to waste time peeling them. We just want them to be quite chunky. And it's a good idea to cut all of these potatoes the same size so they cook evenly. Also, you do want to cut them this shape because they're going to cook at the same time as the beef. So if they're too big, they won't be cooked in time. So we'll cut these again. So just straight down the centre and then into wedges. I like to use Desiree potatoes for this because they do hold their shape nicely because they're waxy. Other potatoes that work really well are some kipper potatoes. All right, let's turn our beautiful piece of beef. Oh, good colour. And that just needs a few more minutes. For our potatoes, again, using some good quality extra virgin olive oil, just drizzle that over our potatoes. I like to do this over the potatoes so each individual piece of potato is coated in the oil so we get an even colour. And again, some salt. So really basic flavours at this stage, but we'll get a hit of herbs, capers in the salsa verde that we'll be serving it with. All right, that meat is looking good. Turn it a few more times. So we'll add our potatoes now around the beef. I'll turn the heat off and this goes into the oven. For this size meat, I'm going to cook this for about 18 minutes, 18 to 20 minutes. I like mine to be medium rare. We're looking for an internal temperature of about 50 degrees when it comes out of the oven. I'm also going to turn the potatoes a few times as they cook so they're nice and golden brown. So in it goes. Okay, while that's cooking, let's get on to our green sauce, a salsa verde. I love a salsa verde. It goes really well with this dish. So in a small food processor, just want to chop roughly a French shallot, and I'm only using half because that was quite a large one. In that goes. Along with classic salsa verde flavours, some capers and some cornichons, which are baby gherkins. 1 anchovy, and I like to use red wine vinegar, but you could use some white wine vinegar too. For piquancy, you have to add some Dijon mustard, works really well. So a teaspoon of that. And the herbs, a combination of mint, basil and parsley, so even amounts. Just want to pick all the leaves straight into our food processor bowl. Finally, the parsley, and you can use some of the stalks because there's loads of flavour in parsley stalks. This is crucial to have the parsley and the basil and the mint for a salsa verde. It's a very herbaceous sauce, so loads of that, those fresh herbs. And to bring the whole thing together, some good quality Australian extra virgin olive oil. I'm going to be using this classic one, which is fresh and fruity. This one's an all-rounder, so it's not going to detract from the herbs. It's just going to really mix in quite nicely. And you need a good amount of this. I'll add about 3 tablespoons to start with. Lid goes on. and we're going to blend until it forms a salsa. All right, that is looking good, but it's still slightly thick, so some more extra virgin olive oil. Okay, that is done. We'll just add a pinch of salt and some freshly cracked pepper. We'll just wait for that beef to finish cooking. I'll check on the potatoes to make sure they're looking good. We're almost done. Pretty happy with the way this dish has turned out. The potatoes are cooked perfectly. Best way to check is just to pierce it with your knife, and if there's no resistance, they are ready. Look at that, perfect. And they've held their shape. Now I've allowed my meat to rest. Really crucial to let the meat rest so all of the juices go back into the fillet, and it means it's going to be extra juicy. So if this was cooking for 20 minutes, I rest this for 10 minutes. And let's slice it. So you can cut it into pretty thick medallions. Oh, look at that. Pink all the way through, just the way it should be. Makes me happy, makes me very happy when everything turns out perfectly. And I like to serve this in the dish that it was cooked in because it really demonstrates how wonderful a one-tray bake can be. So we'll just gather the medallions and we'll just fan them on top of our potatoes like so. I want to show off how perfectly cooked it is. And just arrange it so we can see the potatoes too. And give that salsa verde a last mix so all of that extra virgin olive oil mixes in again. And then generous drizzles over the meat. Looks good. Wonderful. I've reserved some of the parsley leaves for presentation. We're just going to pick the leaves straight over the top, and always with beef, a little extra salt to finish it off. This is a show-stopping dish. Bring this out to the table. Everyone is going to be wowed. And the best part of it, they won't even know how easy it was to make.